Good day players, parents, sponsors and guardians. First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate you for successfully completing term 1 of the program and wish you all the best for the terms that lie ahead for the rest of the year. This is an informative video that is going to take you through this particular page of the player report and hopefully provide you with a little bit more clarity and insight into what these particular charts and tables are covering, so that you have more understanding of the data that we're giving to you. Just a quick reminder, if you have any questions or there's still a lack of clarity, please take the opportunity to contact your program manager and they'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. So on the top left we have a photo of the player's name. This has been omitted in this video example, and then we have the player's age and their position. In the top right we have the attendance for the player, the total possible attendance sessions or days that could have been attended, and then their percentage. So we have days at training. There was 39 days in total. This player attended 33, giving him a total of 85% attendance. We then have gym sessions and field sessions. You'll note that these do not total the days at training. That's because of the 39 days, there were low days where there possibly was board sessions or recovery sessions. So there wasn't always a field or gym session every training day. Those would have been replaced with other things. So for this player, he attended 80% of gym sessions, 94% of the field sessions. And then we have at the bottom days sick. Obviously there was a total of 39 days at the academy or at the institute. He did not miss 1 day due to being ill, and he did not miss 1 day due to being injured. Moving down slightly, we have our gym testing results. So there is 4 categories: body composition, strength, power, and then endurance. In the first column we have the player's result. We then have the average for that player's position, and we then have the South African under 20 standard for that position. So in terms of body composition, height and weight are self-explanatory. Body fat percentage, here we're looking for a lower score. That means that you have more muscle mass than fat. So this player, for example, scored 16. The average for the other players in his position was 17, and his target, or the SA under 20 standard, is 12%. Moving on to strength, we have relative 1 rep max bench press. Relative meaning relative to the player's body weight. So that would be his score, whether that be for bench press or for the 3 rep max squat. It's his score divided by his weight, which gives a relative score. For his bench press, this particular player scored 1.2, and the under 20 standard is 1.3. Here obviously a higher score being better. Same is said for the relative 3 rep max squat. Higher scores are better. The pull-ups, this is just a distinct count of pull-ups according to the protocols. This player scored 12, position average 9, and SA under 20 standard is 18. Again, higher score is better. Adjusted vertical jump, higher score being better. That is a lower body power test. Medicine ball is an upper body power test. Again, higher being better. Endurance, repeated sprint. Here you have a certain amount of time to rack up as much distance as possible, so a higher score is better. More meters is better. Bronco, here there's a particular amount of time to complete the Broncos. My apologies. There's a particular distance that needs to be completed, and the time it takes you to complete that distance is then measured. So that means a lower time is better. You can see this player scored 5 minutes 34 seconds, and to meet the SA under 20 standard for his position, he needs to shave off 44 seconds of his time. The data you see here, the players testing versus the position average, is displayed in the spidergram to the left. The spidergram is an easy way to quickly see where the player is doing better or worse. So if we look here at his vertical jump, he needs to improve his vertical jump score because the position average is higher than his. So the black is the position average and the orange is his score. So if we look at relative 1 rep max bench press, he's scoring significantly higher. We look at the 3 rep max squat, he's scoring the same. This data is also again viewable here. So 1.5 position average, 1.5 his results, giving him the same score. Pull-ups, he scored slightly higher. Vertical jump, he's falling behind. Medicine ball toss, he scored significantly higher. Repeated sprint is better. Bronco the same. And body fat more or less the same. Like I said, that the distinct data is available here, but this gives you a nice little overview. So that concludes the gym-based testing for their term report. I'm now going to move on to our field-based testing. Now, the field-based testing, we focused particularly on 4 core skills for term 1. This does not mean this is all the player trained in term 1. This is just what our core skills were for that term. So more emphasis was given here, and this is according to the UXI Sport Rugby curriculum, which is in place at every institute. So every institute had a predominant focus on these core skills for term 1. In term 2, term 3, and term 4, these skills will change, and we will report those skills accordingly. So in term 1, the core skills that we focused on were passing, contact prep, tackle technique, and carry into contact. For each of these skills, there were 5 coaching points, and that is what we used to rate that particular skill. So I'm going to use tackle technique as an example, and each of these skills has 2 graphs. So I'll run through tackle technique, but the same can be applied for every other skill. So in terms of tackle technique, the first graph compares the player's baseline evaluation at the beginning of the term to his evaluation at the end of the term. The black line that you see is the position average, also position average baseline and position average at the end of the term. So in this particular graph, you can see that the player scored higher than the position average and then improved by 1, which is the highest score you can obtain, and that followed the same increased trend as the position average. If we look at maybe another example, here the player was significantly higher than the position average and maintained that score while the rest of his players got closer to that 10 score. Looking back at the tackle technique, so that covers the first chart. The second chart, we're looking at the black, which is this player's baseline testing, and the orange is his end of term testing. So this gives you a direct comparison what he was like at the beginning of the term and what he was like at the end of the term. So to give this graph a little bit more substance, every skill has 5, like I mentioned, 5 coaching points. For this particular skill, it was head placement, contact with shoulder, shortening of steps leading into the contact, body position going into contact, and the alignment and tracking of the player. A score of 0 means the player is not competent. A score of 1 means the player is somewhat competent, which means he gets it right sometimes, or he's almost there, but he doesn't quite have that particular coaching point down yet, or he scored 2, which is fully competent. So again, not competent, somewhat competent, fully competent. So if I use the shortening of steps, for example, this particular player scored 1, so he was somewhat competent at the beginning of the term, and with the training improved that and now became fully competent and now has that perfect 10 out of 10 for his tackle technique skill. So that concludes the summary of this particular chart. I hope this has helped give you clarity in what these graphs mean, what all the numbers mean. And again, I'd like to reiterate, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact your program manager, get some clarity, get some understanding. And I'd like to wish you all the best for term 2, and let's keep working hard, and I hope we can see great improvements in the next 4 skills and in our next term's focus areas.